Hi there, this is Paul Beckman, PaluRainbowSong. I've divided this spiel into two parts. Part 1 is shorter. When you want to listen to more, because there is more, then click on Part 2. If you want to keep it short, then this is it. If you'd like to hear the rest, then click on the link. Inshallah. I hope you enjoyed the songs I created, this being one. If you liked any of the songs I made, how would you like to have more? For this reason, email me at PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. I'd love to create more songs for you. PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. I'd be happy to create some songs for you. Whether for your business or any special project you might have in mind, even some healing songs for you or for anyone you know. Now, if you would also like to support me in what I'm doing in creating movie song reviews by Palu, as well as documentary songs by Palu, and even CNN and BBC news songs by Palu, I do them all, then please support me. How can you do that? You can send an email transfer donation to PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. So, it's the same email as before, PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. You can contact me and I'll create some songs for you, more songs. As well, if you want to support me in what I'm doing, you can send an email transfer donation to PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com, just like you see there. And if you do that, I will get it. Please make your email transfer as generous and as big as possible. That will really help me if you can. At the beginning of 2026, I decided to make a vow to myself to add one more spiel to what I'm talking about now. Normally, in the past, I would have just ended this and the video would be over. However, here comes the spiel. Let's look at the question, the basic question. Why have I made this movie song review by Palu? In truth, the real answer is because I have a brain injury. Yes, I have a brain injury. And this is the main reason why I made this movie song review by Palu. Now, how does that fit? What's the connection? Well, here it is. Brain injuries often mean that you are likely to have head pain or headaches the rest of your life. It may mean that you won't be able to communicate like you did before. Sometimes when you try to communicate, even though you're relatively back to normal, normal is a word of the past. Now, when you try to communicate at any moment in time, the word you want to use, the concept behind what you're trying to explain, may suddenly vanish, and you're left hanging without a way to communicate and say what you really want to do. Imagine not being able to say what you mean because the words you normally use to express yourself suddenly vanish, and you're left speechless, or at the very best, to try to find an alternative to say what you normally would have said with ease. The words you want to use, the word or words you're used to using, suddenly vanish and leave you defenseless. They leave you unable to communicate what your heart wants to say. That's just one scenario. There are many others. There can also be a loss of memory. It could be a loss of short-term memory or a loss of long-term memory, or both. Whatever the case, there now exists, because of the brain injury, a handicap. Brain injuries are also cumulative. You may have one brain injury or hit your head hard, and each time you do that, subsequently adds to your brain injury, and it becomes worse. Now here's where I come in. I have a brain injury. However, I want to do something about it. I know that it may not bring me back to complete normal. I'll always suffer now, to some extent. However, there's no harm in trying, is there? Trying to return back to as normal, quote, normal as possible. And to that behest, I have developed 3 brand new forms of brain injury therapy I think have validity, and I am experimenting with and using, that are helping me. And I believe that they can help you too. One of these happens to be a new style and a new form of yoga that I've invented. The other happens to be a kaleidoscope I have also invented. I tout as the 8th wonder of the world. One demonstration of it, just one, usually gives any person one of the greatest experiences they've ever had in their entire lifetime, drug-free. And finally, we have this very movie song review by Palu. Brain injury, brain injury, brain injury therapy. They come together, and one helps actually to support the other. Now, when a brain injury happens, there often is a loss to the thinking intellect. Now, I do not truly believe that the thinking intellect on its own, just by itself, can create the type of song you just heard me do. How did I do that? Isn't that uncanny, that someone can just create a song like that off the top of their head? It would be difficult for anyone with normal consciousness. Even harder for someone with a brain injury. And yet, I believe that the focal point of being able to do that lies within another domain. We've all heard of intuition, the intuitive faculty. Yet, who really is in touch with their intuition? Who really is in touch with the intuitive faculty? Now, whether we're in touch with it or not is another thing. Yet, or but, can we draw it to us is another. Perhaps you're not in touch with your intuition. It doesn't always willy-nilly come when you ask it to, does it? Now, sometimes it will. Who knows? A lot of times people will think that the intuition is good for guessing and deciding horse race winners, perhaps. But there's more to it than that. I believe that the intuition, the intuitive faculty, is really our friend. And I believe that it is a higher attribute, a higher power within us, within all, that every single person has and can tap if need be. So, what I do is I'll watch a movie, and when I become so inspired, I will purposefully attract and draw the intuition towards me, to me. How? By creating a freestyle song. You saw it. The thinking intellect cannot do that. It simply can't. And yet, I was able to create the type of song you just saw me do. How? And with a brain injury? Because I tap into the belief that if you just do it, words will flow. If you just do it, the beat will happen. If you just do it, all will be well. And so it is. By going ahead and becoming inspired while watching a movie, of some part in it, and then going ahead and just creating, you beckon forth the ability of the intuition, the intuitive faculty, to be lured in and to do its thing, just like you saw. And I believe that the intuitive faculty, if it is lured there, and freestyle song creation is the way, or a way, to make it happen, then by its very presence, being healthy, being whole, being more of the mind than the brain. Mind and brain being the same thing, but different. Brain can be dissected. Intuition and mind cannot. It will naturally, by its own existence, being so close to you, so close in experience, so close to the brain, it will have a positive effect for the brain itself. And that is the brain injury therapy I am pioneering and am the inventor of, to bring it to light to you now. I therefore ask that this very movie Song Review by Palu be used by the medical community this instant as evidence in the annals of medical history, and used to support this new style, this new kind, this new fabric of brain injury therapy I have developed for the purpose of helping to heal such a handicap for all those in this world suffering brain injury. And I ask that the medical community make this a bona fide, logistic, real form of brain injury therapy right now. Get on it. Do it. Now, I'm not finished there. There's another part. I now speak to all social media sites. I now speak to all media sites. And I now speak to the corporations and conglomerates that represent entertainment in this world, that put stars on limelights and put tickets and sales in your hand. Yes, all of these. From Facebook to Instagram, from Twitter to X, to LinkedIn, and so on. All these social media sites, Reddit, and so on. As well as to YouTube, Vimeo, Netflix, and so on. And finally, to the movies you see that start out with the names 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Paramount, and so on. I ask you all to lower your algorithms. For instance, if I were to upload this very movie Song Review by Palu onto YouTube right now, or onto Facebook, or whatever else, it would be shot down. The algorithms are such that if I were to upload this movie Song Review by Palu to one of those just mentioned, social media site, or try to get into the gates of the big conglomerates, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Paramount, my effort would be red flagged. And suddenly there'd be warnings everywhere. Copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement. And I wouldn't stand a chance. Nor would any algorithm understand what I'm doing. The only aperture I have, the only way to get in, left to me, the only one, without being shot down, like the Allies flying over Germany in World War II, or over Japan, or in those days, being shot down. The planes shot down. Well, my movie Song Review effort is shot down by these algorithms. They just don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand. I'll be shot down immediately. Red flag, red flagged, red flagged, red flagged. Copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement, copyright infringement. They just don't get it. However, there is one saving grace, something called make use of. And there's one other. It's called fair use. I have mentioned that the real purpose behind my making this movie Song Review is the fact that I have a brain injury. And I am healing myself right now with this movie Song Review by Palu. It helps to heal me. It helps to heal my brain by creating freestyle songs and drawing the intuition towards me to help heal my brain injury. And this is a fair use. Why I ask that all my movie Song reviews by Palu, documentary song reviews, and CNN and BBC News Songs by Palu be given exemption status and be allowed to be uploaded, so that the masses out there could then enjoy what I have created. Even though it's intended to help heal myself, and that's what it is doing, and that's what it is intended for, I believe that it also is entertaining, a new form of entertainment that no one has seen before. And though it's not part of the salary that people are paid when they're creating a movie, or creating a documentary, or making the news, nevertheless it is another form of entertainment as well. Not intended to be just entertainment, it's also intended to be something that helps heal me, that I have a right in this world to try to do. Doesn't everyone in this world with a brain injury have a right to try to heal themselves? Heal themselves? Certainly. And this is such a way. A new way. A new way nobody has seen before. So don't let your algorithms be you a social media site, or a media site, or a media conglomerate. Shoot me down. I ask for exemption with a policy of fair use that no one has seen before, that is as bright in the sky and as magnificent as any aspect of human evolutionary unfoldment. Please give this aspect of human evolutionary unfoldment for the purpose of healing, and also instilling one of the greatest forms of entertainment anyone has ever seen before. It is amazing a chance. Thank you very much. God bless. Namaste. Honor the divine in all.
These added legal references will strengthen my disclaimer as far as dealing with algorithms goes. Because copyright law is territorial, I have mainly cited both US and Canadian standards to cover such bases, as platforms like YouTube operate under US law, while my work is based in Canada, for instance. Here are the specific facts, legal codes, and legal statistics I am trying to both adapt to and harmonize with in both regions. For example, the USA and Canada. The legal framework. United States law, 17 U.S. Code Section 107. The Fair Use Statute. It explicitly protects the use of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, and news reporting. It mandates a 4-factor test. The purpose and character of the use, for example, transformative nature, commentary, or educational value. The nature of the copyrighted work. The amount and substantiality of the portion used, for example, using short clips rather than the full movie. The effect of the use upon the potential market value of the original work. For example, the review does not compete with or replace buying the movie. That dealt with the USA mandate in terms of copyrighted law and my trying to get at fair use policy, as it is called in the USA. As far as Canada goes, their term for fair use policy is slightly different. In Canada they call it fair dealing. Now, we will look at the Canadian equivalent, Canadian law, Section 29 of the Copyright Act, fair dealing, and the landmark Supreme Court case, CCH Canadian Limited v. Law Society of Upper Canada, 2004. Canadian law recognizes criticism and review as core statutory exemptions. The Supreme Court's 6-factor fairness test analyzes purpose, character, amount, alternatives, nature, and effect. Palu's universal Spiel disclaimer for his movie and documentary Song Reviews by Palu, as well as CNN and BBC News Songs by Palu, fair use and fair dealing. Copyright disclaimer. This video constitutes a movie song review containing original commentary, transformative artistic expression, and critical analysis. U.S. copyright law. This video utilizes brief excerpts of copyrighted material under the provisions of 17 U.S. Code Section 107, Fair Use. This use is strictly for non-profit, educational commentary, and criticism, which weighs heavily in favor of fair use. It does not substitute for or negatively impact the market value of the original work. Canadian copyright law. This content constitutes a user's right under Section 29 of the Copyright Act, fair dealing, for the express purposes of criticism and review, as upheld by the Supreme Court of Canada, CCH Canadian Limited v. Law Society of Upper Canada, 2004, SCC 13. Content creator note. This production is part of an ongoing personal neurorehabilitation and cognitive brain injury therapy program, leveraging song interpretation to rebuild cognitive pathways. All material is included solely to illustrate critical points within this therapeutic framework. Full attribution is provided to the original copyright owners. To support this independent creative work or request additional custom song tracks, you may contact the creator directly via email at PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com or submit a voluntary e-transfer donation to help offset production overhead to PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. Highly generous email transfer donations are appreciated and recommended. Although my mainstream name is Paul Beckman and my new age name is PaluRainbowSong, I will receive all email transfers by simply sending your dollar donation to PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. Note: practical tip for automated systems. Algorithmic bots cannot read intent, they simply match audio and video fingerprints. While text and voice disclaimers are vital for human appeals, when you dispute a claim, they won't stop an initial automated flag. At this point in time, I can do nothing about this ironic, illogical consistency. Intended future knowledge, procedures, and practices. When a red flag occurs, my intended modus operandi will be to use YouTube's dispute button, select fair use, fair dealing, and paste the exact legal codes above into the text box to initiate a human review.
All right. Now, what I noted by listening to that being read by the text narrator is the fact that when it said my email address, it said it with hyphens and with dots or periods. So let's get it straight. Once again, even though the Speechify text narrator said it incorrectly in my mind, this is what you want. If you want to communicate with me to have more songs, I'm very happy to do that. Email me at PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. There's no hyphen. Now, if you want to support me in any way at all, especially with an email transfer, a money donation, email transfer for my work that I'm doing, creating movie song reviews by Palu, creating documentary song reviews by Palu, and creating CNN and BBC News songs by Palu. If you want to support me in any of that at all, as well as even give support to the 2 other forms of brain injury therapy I have developed and am developing, such as the new style of yoga geared for brain injury therapy, as well as my kaleidoscope, which I call a solar meditation bow, then please send all email transfer money donations to the same address, same email address, PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com. There it is, PALU rainbowsong@gmail.com. I think that does it. Thank you very much. Hi there. This is Paul Beckman, PaluRainbowSong. Just letting you know that I know you must feel listening and watching this all this time, but nevertheless, there's a few pointers to point out. As regards emailing me for more songs, or emailing me to send me an email transfer donation, please make PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com all one word. And some of the business cards I've handed out, the only thing on there closest to an email is just my name, PaluRainbowSong, and that's often spelled Palu space Rainbow space Song. So when you're making an email and sending it to me, or sending me an email transfer, please make sure that it's all one word, Palu, P-A-L-U, Rainbow Song, all one word, @gmail.com, all one word. So there's that. Secondly, as you see right now, for example, the suite I live in is often very warm. For a while, the floor was the only heat, and it was extremely hot because it was stuck on a certain valve that it wasn't supposed to be stuck on, and it made it very, very hot. And so I've had that problem. But also, especially in the summertime, it's very hot. I have no air conditioning. I use fans, but they only do so much good. So very often I'm scantily clad. Now, if you take offense to that, I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about it. So many of my videos have me scantily clad without much on at all. Please accept that. If you don't like that, I apologize. If you don't like how my body looks, because I'm 70 years old, I apologize. I do the best with my body that I can, and I am working on being fit. I believe I am. but of course a person can always do more. So there's those two things: scantily clad, PaluRainbowSong@gmail.com, all one word. Hi, this is Paul Beckman, PaluRainbowSong. This is the link you want to go to or press on when you see the clickable link that will take you to the Part 2 Spiel by Palu for Palu songs and song projects, which is my preference to add onto each song or song project that I create.